Hello everyone, this is Madeline with Soju Bujo and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, this is a channel where I share ideas and inspiration for how to use bullet journaling to advance social justice goals. In honor of Earth Day on Friday, today I'm sharing 5 spread ideas for people looking to advance environmental justice by building more sustainable habits. If you haven't seen my April monthly plan with me, I'll leave it linked in the corner and in the description below, but I make the social justice case for why it's important to consider the environmental impact of your actions. Today I'm going to go over some of the spread ideas I've had for using bullet journaling to help me do this. Some of these ideas I've used before, some of them are new ideas, but all of them can be modified or merely considered for inspiration, so if you are also interested in trying to reduce your environmental footprint, I'd encourage you to think about what kinds of spreads and motivation can be useful for you. The first spread idea I have to share with you all is a habit builder spread. Last year, I made a resolution to build more environmentally sustainable habits. Specifically to build 12 new environmentally sustainable habits. It was my environmental sustainability goal for the year. To achieve my building 12 new environmentally friendly habits goal, I built myself what I call a habit builder spread. So I like this spread much better than a habit tracker spread, especially if I'm trying to build habits from scratch or I'm trying to make many small behavior changes all for the same goal. I actually found this spread so useful in helping me build these habits that not only am I continuing using it for building 12 more environmentally sustainable habits this year, but I've also adapted it to help myself build habits related to fitness and to tidiness around the house. So if you're interested, I can explain to you a bit more about the logic behind a habit builder spread and how it works. If you'd like that video, please leave a comment to that effect below. But basically, the spread has 2 components, a brain dump page and a monthly planning page. On the left side, you get to jot down all the ideas you have for types of habits you could build that could have a positive impact on the environment. These could be things like composting, taking the time to recycle more properly so that you don't contaminate the recycling bins, frequenting bulk buy or zero waste stores to reduce packaging waste, switching from bottled water or soda to like a homemade version or to tap water, switching to zero or low waste cleaners, starting an herb or vegetable garden, signing up for a CSA, buying more used. Really, there's like endless possibilities here. So on the other page, I set up this quasi kind of game board style calendar with a space for each month. So once you're done collecting the ideas on the left-hand page, or to be honest, you never have to be done collecting ideas. You can keep adding ideas to the brain dump page throughout the year. But then routinely, each month, you can go through and choose one of the habits that you want to build that month, and you can slot it into the planning portion of the game board. Now, some people might be tempted to plan out the entire year ahead of time, but I actually suggest that this works best as a play-as-you-go kind of thing so that you can adjust as you need throughout the year. So that also leaves space in case it takes you longer than 1 month to build a certain habit. You can just slot that habit in 2 months in a row. This actually happened for me last year when it took me 2 months. It took me more like 3 months for me to really get the hang of making my own candles. I did not realize how difficult making candles was. So that's a habit builder spread. And moving on now, the second spread idea I have for you is what I'm calling a nature appreciation spread. So this spread takes on a very similar format as a gratitude log or a one-line-a-day spread, where you leave a space for each day of the month, and throughout the month, you fill in one thing that you appreciated about the natural world that day. So it's essentially a modified gratitude log where you are focusing specifically on feeling gratitude for the planet and the natural world. I came up with a spread idea after I read the book Braiding, Sweetgrass by Kimerer, one of the best books I've read in a long time. Kimerer talks about the importance of having a relationship with the natural world, that humans that live outside of a sphere of reciprocity and constant give and take with the natural world will inherently feel dislocated and unfulfilled. I think if you have a strong relationship with the natural world, you're more likely to fight to protect it. The next spread idea I have is a waste reduction tracker. So this is kind of the opposite of a steps tracker or a water tracker, because usually in those types of trackers, you are trying to maximize the amount of times you do those activities. In this case, you're trying to reduce the amount of waste you produce. So To do this, you would have to find some way to quantify the amount of waste you produce. You could do this by the number of trash bags you use. You could track the number of times you have to take the trash out. If you like to take the trash out every week regardless of how full it is, then you could make a graph to show how full the bin is each time you take it out. If you're just starting out with this, you might just track the waste that you send to landfill. I like to track both landfill waste and what I send to recycling because recycling still is not an entirely circular model or like waste-free process. So I've set up a chart where I will track the number of times I take out the trash and the recycling each month, and hopefully I want to see the trend line go down over the course of the year as I build waste-reducing habits like composting, buying from bulk bins, etc. The next spread I have is an expense tracker that I call a buy used first spread. This idea was actually inspired by Shelby or Shelbizzle on YouTube and her constant advice to buy used first. So for those of you who don't know Shelby, I'll link her channel down below, but she makes videos on how to live a more eco-conscious life, and I absolutely love her content and her approach. She has a very socially conscious approach, and she's inherently skeptical of like the latest trends, including the latest trends in zero waste or eco-friendly living, which I appreciate that kind of critical approach. Shelby's whole shtick is that she practices a form of sustainable living she calls eco-minimalism, which basically means you buy as little as possible new to reduce your environmental impact. Because she explains that every single item that is made and shipped and sold in stores has an environmental impact, and only about 15% of any item's impact on the environment actually comes from like how it is used or how it's disposed, but most of that impact comes from making and shipping the item. And so the best way to reduce your impact on the environment is to always default to buying things used whenever possible. So here we have a spread to help you track what you are buying new and what you're buying used. So I've squared off a little section at the bottom here to give me ideas of where I might look to find different items used, like Facebook Marketplace or ThreadUp. You could set this up for each month as part of a larger expenses tracking spread. You could set it up at the beginning of the year and just track some of the major expenditures, but using your bullet journal to remind you to look to buy things used first is one way you can reduce your environmental footprint. And finally, I have a sustainable content spread where I keep track of the different books, documentaries, podcasts, whatever that I'm reading or watching or listening to, or that I want to read or watch or listen to that teach me more about environmental justice. I found that if I'm trying to change my behavior sustainably, it helps for me to routinely remind myself about why I have set that goal. So consuming content that helps me learn more about environmental justice and why it's important is one way that I do that. Here I have boxes for books, movies, podcasts, blogs, YouTube channels, and other. Honestly, some of the best information I get on living eco-friendly is from YouTube. So there you have 5 bullet journal spreads that could help you reduce your environmental footprint. I'll do the flip through in a second, but I hope you found inspiration in some of these spreads, and please let me know if you use any of them, modify any of them, or have spread ideas of your own that you find useful in living a more eco-conscious life. Here we started with a sustainable habit builder spread. We moved on to an appreciating nature spread, a waste reduction tracker, a buy used first tracker, and finally a spread to track eco-friendly content. Thank you for watching, and please be sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more videos on social justice bullet journaling, and I'll see you next time.